Welcome to Behind the Veil. Now, here is your transformational coach, Tammy Hawks.
Okay, so I like to start all these off with just kind of an intention, because intention precedes everything. So my intention for this call is really to bring you as much healing, as much transformation as possible in this short period of time. And if I could bring you one thing on this call that could make the biggest difference in your life right now, what would that one thing be?
I don't know. I guess an insight into I guess life itself. I guess we all live the same life, but we have different story. But I think our stories are somewhat, feelings behind our stories are the same. In other words, my story may be different than somebody else's, but the way we feel when we go through our life story, unwanted, unloved, like we don't matter, are the same. So I think that's what binds us. And I think we need more people to be upfront about their life stories, not to be ashamed of them, because it doesn't define us, right? Our past don't define us. And just know that there is a village of people that we can relate to each other and help each other with the coping skills. So I guess I'm an insight into life itself, because I think we all want to have a normal life. And I said today to one of my friends, I said, I don't know what that is. Define normal, right? But I feel as if in life there's always going to be something. I feel that life doesn't get easier, but we should get better at it with the experiences, lesson learned, elevating ourselves to a higher dimension, not to be low vibrationally, fearful, and all that. So
Cool. Sounds like you're on your healing journey. So I love to hear all that. Yeah, so I was reading through your paperwork, your questions, and a few things stood out to me. One, you've been married 3 times. Is that
no, just
Nope.
one.
You've
Just
only
one.
been married once.
Yes.
Okay. How many different relationships, major relationships, maybe I'm getting confused as to how many relationships you were talking about.
Right. So I've been married once, divorced once, obviously, but I've been in 2 relationships after divorce,
Okay.
which they each lasted about 18 months, which is considered pretty significant in a sense. But they both ended. So it wasn't nothing. It was just a relationship.
Was there any common themes amongst these 3 major relationships? It sounds like these are the 3 major relationships you've had in your adulthood.
Yes. So my first marriage, I was married when I was 26, and I divorced when I was 42. And then the year after my divorce, that was my first relationship. So if I can find a common denominator, I think now I know. And even when I had those 2 relationships after divorce, it was attachments, right? I didn't think that I was feeling a void, but I was, because we all I think at the time I was still feeling as if I need someone to fulfill me. Now, after those 2 relationships ended, I realized the only person to fulfill me is me. That whatever I'm seeking at the partner is something that I have to give to myself. And unless I do that, I won't be successful in a relationship. So I realized that. But I had to go through those. And I have to tell you that each relationship was better than when I was married. They had better things, but still there was a lot of trauma. But I think
Okay, let me stop you there.
Yeah.
If I could, let's just boil it down to, if there was commonalities between these men that you chose, did you see, even though you saw it consistently getting better, what are the commonalities as far as the characteristics that they had in common?
I think that on 3 of those relationships, I felt abandonment issues.
They had it, or you felt
I
abandoned?
think they all had it. I felt it, and I know they had it too.
Okay, got it. Anything else?
No, I think that they both bring, like, I've learned about myself being in those 2 relationships, especially after divorce, because initially when I got married, I was not young, but I was 26, almost 27, but I didn't know myself. And I feel as if that was the thing that I tried. And after being married for 17 years, we've known each other for 20, literally, you know, it's just, what do I say? Like, I learned about myself with those two relationships, different things about me, different things about my life, because I was married for so long, I've never dated. So here I was 42 trying to get in a dating world. I haven't dated in 20 years. My first husband was my first man I've ever been, not dating, but very serious. And so I really didn't know what I was doing in a way. It's like, how do you date in your 40s? It's been a while since I dated. And so those following relationships taught a lot about, I learned a lot about me from different points of view. So it was all good. I mean, even though it ended, I was like, oh, okay, now I realize this about me. And it's almost like with every ending relationship, you kind of make your little things that what you want out of it. Okay, I want this, I'm not gonna put up with that, this is good, that is not good. It kind of like you're making, I don't want to say a list, but it's like, yeah, who am I and what do I want? What do I need? Because I think that at the end of the day, in a relationship, we need to be able to fulfill each other's needs. And can you handle my needs, and can I handle yours? Because that's important.
Cool. Well, I have one thing that I really wanted to figure out because also with this goal that I have, this intention I have with this call, it's to really identify that one thing standing in the way of what you really want, which always goes back to a belief. So, my intention is to find that belief or series of beliefs that are standing in the way, right? Because it could be very simple. So, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you get in a very relaxed place. I'm going to have you make your spine really straight. And before we really go into this, I'm going to let you know that some of this might sound a little weird to you because I'm dealing with your subconscious mind, but I want you to just sort of trust me on it. And if you find your mind coming in trying to talk you out of it, I want you to just release those thoughts and just kind of relax back into where I'm taking you, because you'll have your eyes closed for a while until I invite you to open them. And that's because we're accessing, your subconscious mind. So if you're good with that, I'm going to have you get yourself in a nice relaxed state. Yep. You might want to put the pen down, and I want you to sort of just get your feet really flat on the ground. And I'm going to have you take a deep breath in, closing your eyes, holding the breath at the top, exhaling out. I want you to just become aware of the earth rising up to support you. Right there, sitting in that chair right here and now, just becoming present, tuning into your breath, tuning into your body. And as you relax, I want you to notice, become aware of a big energy bubble above your head, a beautiful healing energy bubble. And first impression, I want you to give it a color that feels healing and safe to you. First impression, what color is that?
It's pink. It's light pink.
Light pink. Okay, beautiful. I want you to connect to that light pink bubble above your head. And as you do, I want you to picture a moon roof on the top of your head opening up to receiving this pink energy bubble. So with each breath you take and each beat of your heart, allowing this pink energy to drop down in through the top of your head. And as it moves down, I want you to just allow it to be completely absorbed by each and every cell of your body. So filling the brain, both right and left hemispheres of the brain, moving down, filling your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, jaw with this beautiful pink healing energy. That's right. Moving down your throat and your neck, filling each and every cell as it moves down, allowing each and every cell of your muscles to just relax, surrender, let go. That's right. Moving down to your shoulders, moving down your arms to your elbows, your wrists, and shooting out your fingers, filling up your heart space. And as it moves to the heart space, I want you to allow it to open up your heart on every single side. Just open, open. That's right. I want you to connect to this heart energy, and I want you to move this pink energy down to your stomach, filling each organ, each muscle, each tissue, each strand of DNA, RNA, all the way down to your epigenetics, filling each cell completely. And as it's moving down, I want you to just allow each muscle to just relax, let go. Moving down to your hips and your knees and your feet. I want you to take a deep breath in, exhale out. And as you do, I want you to expand that pink ball all around your body. That's right. So it's a big bubble completely absorbing you. That's right. And as long as you're in this pink energy bubble, you feel safe, you feel loved. In fact, this is your set point. This beautiful, relaxing, healed state is your set point. It is your birthright. And at any point in time, you can connect to this pink energy and feel this very state. That's right. And as you're in this state, if there's any moment where you feel your heart beating extra fast or feeling anxious in any way, all you need to do is connect to this pink bubble all around you and feel protected and safe. And as you're in this pink energy bubble, I'm going to have you go inward, inside your body, because we're going to access a little bit of data. And I'm going to have you turn your attention when you talk about abandonment issues. When you spoke about abandonment issues, I want you to feel into that. And there's a place in your body where these abandonment issues stem from. And first impression, I'm going to have you take your hand and place it on this area. That's right. Connect to it. And first impression, what color is it?
It's bright red.
Bright red. Perfect. I want you to tune into it. I want you to go into that bright red right there in your chest. And I want you to see, notice, witness that there is a projection shooting out from that bright red area in your chest. And as you make that image clear, notice that this is the very first experience, memory that you have of this emotion. And I want you to allow that screen to get very, very clear as you can notice what memory is popping up. This will be the first experience you have with this emotion. Tell me when you have it.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. First impression, how old are you in this image?
Maybe like 4 or 5.
Perfect. Are you alone or are you with someone?
With someone,
Who are you with?
but my sister, my older sister.
Your sister. And what's happening in this image?
Well, she's supposed to take care of me because she was older and was supposed to get me to school, but because I was 5 years younger than her, so obviously when I was 5, she was 10. She kind of, didn't wanna, she was supposed to get me to daycare, but then she, watched me from distance to go on my own because she didn't wanna, do anything with me because I was little and she was too old, quote unquote, to.
Okay, so I want you to tune in to your little 5-year-old self, and I want you to see, witness that bright yellow bubble around her. And I want you to go ahead and move into that bubble with her. And I actually want you to feel everything she's feeling in this moment. What is she feeling?
Um, I don't think that she likes me. I'm sort of like a burden to her. Something she has to do and she doesn't really want to be around.
So you're a burden.
Mm-hmm.
What else are you believing about yourself right now in this moment?
That nobody wants me and that I'm on my own and that I have to do this on my own.
You're on your own. What else are you believing about yourself right now?
Mm. And it feels lonely, feels because I was just a little girl.
Mm-hmm. What
And
else are you believing about yourself right now?
that I'm not worthy or not good enough to for her to love me as a sister.
Yeah, what else are you believing about yourself right now?
I think that's it. It just feels lonely and I want to be her friend. I want her to be my friend, but she doesn't want me.
What else do you want from her right now?
I want her to, take my hand and bring me to daycare rather than let me, um, you know, go behind the bushes myself because it was a shortcut. And, I just want her to acknowledge me, and just be kind, I think, because that just it didn't feel kind. It felt very rude, or it's almost like, I was just some distraction for her, like not even a family. Like I did not feel as if, I was, she was my sister, but she, dealt with me as if I was just some another girl on the street that she has to get to daycare.
Mm-hmm. What else, what do you want from your sister that she's not giving you?
I guess love and acceptance, and that it's not my fault that I am younger than you so many years, and that you find me, too little for a company. Like I'm not good enough. I should be older, closer to your age, and I'm not. But there is nothing I can do for that.
Mm-hmm. What else are you wanting from your sister right now?
I think just acceptance and love and kindness.
Mm-hmm. First impression, did the color of that bubble change at all?
It's like a greenish, yellowish.
Green. And I want you to look deep into your 5-year-old version of you's eyes, and I want you to notice, what is she feeling now?
Abandonment. She feels abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So, much like threading a needle, we're going to move through that bubble until it fully dissolves, knowing that emotion only takes 90 seconds to fully feel before it completely dissolves. So, I want you to let her know that you've come all the way back from the future just to be with her in this moment. I want you to scoop her up in your arms, and I want you to love on her. What does she need right now from you in this moment? Ask her.
Hmm. I don't know. I have this block thinking that she'll never is able to do that. I mean, even to this day, she's never wanted to keep contact with me. And obviously we are adults and having our own families. But
Are you talking about your sister?
mhm.
I'm talking about the 5-year-old you. I want you to be in the bubble with the 5-year-old you. I want you to connect to her emotions. I want you to allow her to feel her feelings because guess what? She's still in there and
Mhm.
she's still in pain. So I want you to go ahead and meet her in her bubble and I want you to feel her pain. And we're going to feel it until it's completely dissolved. So we're going to move through that bubble and we're going to allow this 5-year-old you to feel her feelings, knowing that as we feel them, we're releasing them. So I want you to scoop her up in your arms and I want you to look deep into her eyes. And I want you to tell her how special she is, how precious she is, how perfect in every single way. And I want you to tell her that she is absolutely good enough, that none of this is her fault, that she doesn't deserve any of this, that she deserves to be happy and free and loved. What else does she need to hear from you right now in this moment?
I think that she's okay, that she's worthy,
Mm-hmm.
loved herself, and that I am not in her way, that I am at her side
Mm-hmm.
in her way of however she felt about me, that I'm not her enemy, that I'm her ally, that I'm her sister who wants to be just like her.
Mm-hmm. Again, we're dealing with you at 5, your 5-year-old self.
I've always wanted to be like her, even when I was little. I think, um, I guess because she was older, that's just always been, I looked up to her, but
Well, what can you tell your 5-year-old self who so desperately wants to be like her sister? Does she need to be like her sister or does she need to be like herself?
she needs to be like herself.
Does she need to embrace who she is, her unique giftings? Or does she need to be like someone else?
She needs to be herself.
So, can you tell her that it's okay for her to be herself? That she's perfect, that she has all the giftings that are desired and required for her own life path?
You are enough.
Yeah. What else does she need to hear from you?
That I love her, and then I want to be around her.
What does she need from you right now in this moment?
Maybe my kindness,
Mm-hmm.
my embrace,
Mm-hmm.
and just um, knowing that I am not in her way, but by her side.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell her that she's not alone because you're always with her?
Mm.
And could you tell her that you want her and that she is not a burden at all, but she's a precious, dear gift? And can you tell her that she's enough just as she is, that there's nothing more she needs to be or do, that she is just perfect and divine? Does she believe you when you tell her all these things?
Yes.
So I want you to give her one last hug goodbye. And I want you to go ahead and let her know that anytime she needs you, that you will come back for her, that she's that precious and that wonderful to you, that she is the most important person to you. I want you to remind her that she's never alone. And I actually want you to gift her your pink energy bubble. I want you to say, here is a pink energy bubble. And while you have this energy bubble, just know whenever you need to feel safe and loved and cared for, I want you to connect to this pink energy bubble and know that I'm always with you, that you will never, ever, ever be alone. And I want you to witness her face and see that relief come over her face. I want you to see that big smile. And I want you to just sense, feel, and know that she's happy and content and full of joy. And when you know that, I want you to give her one last hug goodbye. And I want you to go ahead in your mind's eye and pop 30 feet above that moment in time. You, your 5-year-old self. And as you go 30 feet above, I want you to look down, notice, see your 5-year-old self in her pink bubble with a big smile on her face. And I want you to go ahead and make your way to the present moment. That's right. All the way to the present moment. And as you do, I want you to see, as you look down, that all those old structures are simply falling away. They're crumbling. They're dissolving, resolving with so much ease and grace and flow. And in their place, strong, brilliant, beautiful structures. Structures that align to the new you that you chose in this moment to heal. That's right, allowing for that new version of you and with all the beautiful circumstances that align to the new you that you've chosen. And as you come back to the present, a year from now, 6 months from now, and I want you to hover, you keep your eyes closed, hover right above your head, right here in the present moment. And I want you to make your way down, make your way down, make your way down, merging back into your body. See that moon roof opening up to receiving all the parts of you down through your head and your shoulders and your hips, all the way to your feet. Take a deep breath in, wiggling your fingers and your toes, coming back in your body, batting your eyes open when you're ready, feeling so energized. Welcome back. How are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah? Any any anything you noticed that was unusual or new for you?
Was interesting to go back to that time because obviously I haven't been there in a long time. Um, but it was difficult to say certain things to her. Um, Mainly, I think because I've since I guess when I was little and I always felt like I was the problem, that because of whatever I was, that she didn't like me, which at the little age I didn't know what it was. But over time, I felt as if I internalized the problem was always me. So it was hard for me to tell her that she's enough because I felt as if, you know, I've done nothing in a way that she should have done. She treated me, but I know that she must have had her own problems that I didn't know about. So in other words, I felt, and I guess I couldn't relate to her because I was too little to know what she was going through and why she felt towards me the way she felt. And so I guess that might have carried with me, in my adult years that, it's I'm the problem, but I didn't know why, because I didn't see problem with me. Um, so it was hard to tell her, but I guess it made me to be more insightful about the fact that, I wasn't responsible for her trauma, whatever she had, the way she was, or whatever was there that made her to be or behave towards me like that, that it was more of a me coming down to her and understanding her too, that, we all have traumas that we don't know about, and we just kind of try to feel like, oh well, why I'm why is it my fault? But I know that it's not my fault. It's just that she's a human being and she has her own things that she had to go through. I feel as if so it was hard for me to tell her all those things because I felt like I was more of a victim. But I know there are no victims, only willing participants. But the
Well,
thing,
that was the weirdest thing, I have to tell you, is that your empathy is so strong that, I was bringing you back to your 5-year-old self, but you kept turning your attention towards your sister. And what that tells me is that you are so empathetic that you really have very little empathy for yourself. And one thing, if I could leave you with one thing that you could really work on, is really being able to see you as equal to everyone else.
Mhm.
Because it's almost as if your focus on your sister, like you had her up on this pedestal, like she was this divine being, and then here's you way down there, and it's like so I kept trying to bring your attention back to you, but you kept going to her. Now that's never happened in a session before, and all that tells me is that you just have tons of empathy, which can be a really great gift. It is not a bad thing at all. However, one way that you get to nurture you is by really focusing on you.
Mhm.
Like, you get to give yourself the gift of self-love and lavishing that you do for other people, right? So that's one thing that I would work on. But the lonely part, how long have you felt lonely for?
Um, you know, it's better. I mean, I've obviously, while I was married, it was the worst because he was here, but I felt lonely, abandoned. But that's worse than being lonely on my own. This way, I
Meaning, even if you're with people, do you still feel lonely?
mm, depends who, but no, mostly I like myself and my company, and I want people, but then sometimes I don't.
Mhm.
I feel more alive being on my own than being in a relationship, and I think that because I try to get to know myself more. I need to be alone because I can listen to myself more and listen to my intuition. That's very good, except that I know that over the years, I denied it for so long because there was so much noise. Being married, being a mother, being a wife, and working full time, which I always did. So I really never had time to like focus on me. A lot of things came out after I divorced in 7 years. I found my creative side. I started to write poetry that I never knew I had a gift. Then I started to dance. I mean, I've always liked dancing, but I dance very actively, and then I draw. And I noticed that I have this creative side that while I was married was very much denied, or anything that I came up with out of my own creativity had to be hushed down because I was in a relationship where anything good that I was had to be pushed down. And so I found this gift that I have, and I've noticed that if I don't feed my creative side, I do get cranky. So I have to balance my creative side with the mundane work of days or whatever else this world needs, because I don't like to be grounded.
Okay,
So
so back to my original question. Lonely is not being alone. There is a feeling of loneliness, right? So that little girl, she technically had her sister, right? It's like the feeling of loneliness has nothing to do with being alone,
right.
right? So that's why I'm trying to give you the juxtaposition of like, so often, almost all of my sessions with women that struggle with finding the right man, they almost always go back to a memory where they feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's very bizarre, but we do it. And what happens is your full identity was created in those first 5 years of life.
Mm-hmm.
So by me taking that emotion and having you take me back to the first time, what I hoped for you to gain was to see the connection. Were you able to see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, good. So yeah, loneliness, I think that you've done a lot of inner work. The only piece that you have is you still have this belief that I'm alone. So even though you know consciously it's
Mm-hmm.
not true, you still got that belief on your track.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, as if me, I I want a partner who's reciprocating or meet me at the level where I'm at, and I'm at the level where, and I, am I healed? Absolutely not. I think healing doesn't have a expiration date. I mean, we evolve, but I at least want to be with someone who meets me where I'm at, and then we help each other to our trauma, because the trauma will resurface when we meet ourselves, head on with his baggage, quote unquote, my baggage. But I first have to learn how to deal with my baggage on my own. Only then I can be a good partner. So I feel as if whatever I'm yearning, wanting, reciprocative love, the abundant love, the authentic relationship, the vulnerable relationship where I am able to talk about, where I came from and what I have and what my issues are. I'm not worried to talk about. Um, but I want someone to have a like, a like.
Okay. So beautiful. I think it's so beautiful to know what it is that you want. And I think that what you get to do in order to prepare yourself for that is for you to love and adore the crap out of yourself. Meaning, not just saying the words, but if I'm loving and adoring myself, just like you're doing with your creativity, it's beautiful. Because what you're telling your subconscious mind is, I'm worthy of expressing myself in this way. And I'm worthy of, so you're doing that work. And I think what you need to do to take it to the next level is, where am I not loving myself? Where am I out of alignment with myself? What am I doing for other people? Because what I've noticed with high supporters like yourself is their list for others, what they do for others, is much longer than the list of what they do for themselves. And so I think just by balancing that out a little more by saying, okay, what gets to come off my plate? And what do I need to put on my plate for me? So take it off if it's something that doesn't serve you. Put it on if it serves you. So I think you're getting there. You're doing more things to serve yourself. Taking it to the next level would be balancing that out. And when you are loving and adoring yourself, you are just going to naturally attract someone that's going to love and adore you, right? So
Mhm.
and yes, we're forever on this healing journey. I don't think it ends, just like you said. And when you're ready for that, when you've done the work to clear out all the shit and you're open enough to receive that person, you're loving yourself, it's going to be a very easy transition in,
Mhm.
right? So, yes, you get to love and adore yourself and allow that person in and know exactly what it is you want. Because, yes, you can't know what you do want until you've experienced a lot of what you don't want.
Mhm.
So you've gotten a lot of clarity and you just get to shift those lists a little bit more.
What if, and I know that, a lot of times what other things of me, I doesn't matter to me because that's not of my business, and people can judge me based on what they think of me, because this is just the way, on the level that they heal themselves, right? They can only meet me as much as they can meet themselves. So if they haven't met themselves, they're going to project on me their own trauma, thinking that, oh, she's this, that, or the other. So I know that. And I understand that now when I meet people and they say things, I was like, okay, well, where is she at? I mean, maybe she doesn't love herself, and then she's telling me this, and it has nothing to do with me. So I know that the only person that knows me is me, and I went through my life myself. So, other people's the opinions has nothing to do with me. But what if I'm meeting resistance into being more myself, and finding people, especially women, because I had a really, really bad bout in a female environment, which, in the line of work that I am, there's predominantly female. And I didn't have to do anything. It almost seemed like very same scenario as I was a little girl, right? I was just there myself, like the saying that sometimes your light is pointing out to the demons of others. And I suffered for that greatly. just minding my business, being me, being happy, jolly, most of the time, I'm in a line of work where I help others, and I've always have a positive feedback. People love me. I love people. I know how to talk. And I don't care whether you're coming from wherever you're coming from, whether you're a doctor, lawyer, or a homeless person, I can find a way to talk to you. And I'm warm and I know how. And that very good thing about me bite me in the tail several times, and it almost made me to be like, okay, well, you can't do this, you shouldn't be doing this, don't dress yourself in the clothes because you have a too good of a figure, and everybody is hateful about it. And I've had it, and I think, we women, we should support each other. There is
So
no
wait, let me get this straight. You have a belief that if you're too attractive, women won't like you. Is that the belief?
well
Or
that
if you're what's the belief? Because here's the thing about beliefs. They're attracting everything that you're seeing out in your life.
Mhm.
Right? Everything that's pictured out in your life is because of a belief that you hold. So if you have a pattern that you don't like, a great question to ask yourself is, what would I have to believe about myself, life, others in order to experience this emotion?
right,
Right? People are going to like us. People are not going to like us, right?
right.
I get that experience too. Everyone has that. But what are you believing about that experience that's creating the perpetuation of that pattern, right? So what would I have to believe about myself? And I'll give you a for instance, okay? When I first started doing my healing work and I started to find my limiting beliefs around men, because I had an abusive father, my beliefs were men hurt me, men
Mhm.
aren't safe, men leave me, because my dad ended up dying when I was young. So, with these three beliefs about men, what kind of men do you think I attracted?
The same kind.
Yes. Okay. So, once I found the pattern, I said, oh, these are the beliefs. How insightful. Now I know why I'm creating the pattern.
Hmm.
And we can do this with everything.
Hmm.
I had a friend that had those beliefs too. She was a really beautiful woman, and she would ask me how I would go to the park dressing a certain way. And she's like, how do you have friends dressing like that? And I'm like, I don't have any beliefs that hinder me from that. Right. But she did. So we had different experiences. Right. But it's all just our perceptions and our beliefs. So you could switch that at any moment.
Hmm.
It could be like, women honor my body. Women love my body. They're constantly complimenting me on my body. They're constantly asking me for tips and tricks. Like, you can change the narrative,
Hmm.
right? But it all goes back to beliefs. And so we just get to know that we're not a victim of anything, that we've created our life exactly how it is. And with that empowerment, we can shift it at any moment.
Hmm. I think,
So
yeah, I think because, well, the funny thing is that I never knew that they saw me the way they saw me, because I guess I never saw myself the way they thought I was. And then, it doesn't make sense. Like,
yeah.
know that in their eyes I had a perfect figure, which I do, but I was like, well, there's a lot of skinny girls. Okay, I'm 5'4" and 110 pounds. I've always been this way thanks to my genes. I do work out, and some of it, but some of it is really genetics. But I never thought of myself the way they thought of me. Does that make sense? And then I was
Yeah.
like, I wasn't even aware of myself, and here I am suffering for it, right? And always have comments of, maybe the way I look at the comments, right? Like, we were at the party and somebody was like, "Oh, would you like a cookie?" I'm like, "No, thank you." "Oh, that's why you're so skinny." And I really don't like those comments. People think that they're giving me a compliment, and I
Okay,
find it
but
spicy.
the suffering is only because of your perception of what they mean by the comments, right? So suffering, and that's you as a very empathetic person, high empath, you have a tendency to take on other people's stuff and to
Uh-huh.
feel it very, very deeply. And one practice that you could get better at is by changing the narrative, right? It doesn't have to be a negative that they think you have a great body. That doesn't have to be a negative to you. It's only the perception that you're taking from it. So you could change the narrative at any point in time and receive it as a compliment.
Mhm.
And how other people perceive you is a reflection of their own belief system. It has nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
Right. So it's that connection to like, I get to create the good outcome from this. I get to create my own belief, and your stuff is just your stuff.
Hmm.
I have a very strong personality, very big personality. Not everyone can take it. And I hated myself for so many years until I saw the gift that it was. And I'm like, not everyone's going to like this. It's very strong. It's very potent. And
Yeah.
guess what? They don't have to. But
Yeah.
I am going to love myself, and I'm going to see myself as the gift that I am with the people I choose to serve.
Hmm.
So you get to reframe all of it. You get to say who you're going to be, how it's going to look to others, and you get to sort of cut those cords to everyone else's emotions. So you said something really impactful when you were talking about your ex-husband, that you felt like you couldn't do specific things. Well, a highly empathic person such as yourself is always going to attract a more controlling person. And what happens with that dynamic is you give up your power, right?
Hmm.
You go like this. You go like this, and you give him all your power, and he takes it, and it's never enough for him. It
Yeah.
will never be enough.
Hmm.
And so over years and years, what I've noticed with my empaths is they've given away for so many years, they're totally depleted. They're like, he will just never be satisfied. But the thing is if you never started to give it away, that you held your power, you said, nope, I'm doing these things. They're important to me. They are not coming off my list. What happens is you are going to attract a very different person.
Hmm.
Right. So in my relationship, my husband's more of the empath. I'm more of the controller. And when I was in my unhealthy state, that's how I was. And I would tell him once I got healthy and I saw what it was within me, I said, you can't give it to me. Right. You don't give me your power.
Yeah.
You hold that power. Right. You hold that line and you say, this is mine. This is who I am. Fuck off if you don't like it. That's what you get to do. And as you step into that power, what you'll notice is you will attract a healthy person, someone who's done their inner work. And when he starts asking you to give up your stuff, or you're noticing yourself shifting to try and make him happy, you're going to be like, oh, hell no.
Right. I know. I mean, but and that's the thing. It's finding that kind of man, because a lot of men, because after all this, what I've been through, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need a man. I want a man. You want me to want you. You don't want me to need you, because that's a whole different me.
But I'm sorry, there are so many men that are on their healing journey right now. I meet them all the time. Beautiful, gentle, loving, masculine, wonderful men. So whenever a woman tells me there's not many out there, I'm like, bullshit. In my group, I see them all the time. So that's just a belief.
Hmm.
It's just a bogus belief. You get to have what you're in alignment with, but you got to get yourself in alignment. That's it.
I know. I read about, that basically universe is like a radio station. It's tuning into what you're saying, what you're thinking, and and I know the theory, but I every time I doubt myself. It's just that I know what to do. I don't know how to. In other words, I know what it means.
Mhm.
I know where I have to be, but it's so hard for me to get there. And then each time the doubtful, I know it's changing the mindset. I just don't
That's a belief too.
know.
And that's okay. That's okay. You get to look at it, right? You get to become aware of what you're saying. That's what I do when I work with my clients is that's all we're doing is dissecting the beliefs, right? We're becoming so hyper aware of what we're putting out there all the time. We're also neutralizing the trauma. So what I did, the process I took you through right there is actually neutralizing trauma, which is extracting negative emotion trapped in the body. So
Mhm.
with my clients, we do that. Every week we do one of those. And on top of it, we have the homework where we're really working with the thought process and the belief systems. So this was step one. If you wanted to take it any further, I'm totally open to that. But what I highly suggest for you is like just keep going in.
Mhm.
Keep going inside because you're on your journey. I could totally tell you're doing the work and you just need to keep going with it, right?
Mhm.
Because you're going to get there.
So it's almost like as if not minding anything else and just looking at myself, and it's sort of like because I'm an empath, I do absorb a lot of energy, and so it's difficult for me to just focus on me, because that feels selfish, right? And so I guess I have to do more of that, in order for me to tune off the outside noise and how people look at me, because I read energy. I mean, I can read energy through text. I read energy even when I meet you. I mean, I walk in a room and I know what's going on, even if I wasn't there. I know something's off, or I know when people. I mean, I'm so highly empathetic that it's like I said, it's a gift. But then it also just like you go back and forth and back and forth, and I'm Pisces, so on top of it, that's just I'm all emotions. I feel, and my logic is based on how I feel. I don't gather data or facts. I don't do that. I don't like it. I don't like to be grounded. So I don't know. So I tend to isolate myself from others, because especially I'm very outgoing and I love to make friends, but it bite me in the tail. I've got so many backstabbing people, especially women, that I would help, and they just turn their back against me for no reason. Like, I am telling you, like I said, okay, I am going to stop make friends, because I think I'm like a Pinocchio. I'm very naive. I want to be friends with.
Pinocchio, you're lying?
Yeah, no, not lying Pinocchio, the naive Pinocchio.
Oh, I see.
Probably like, oh, I'm good. And Geppetto tells him, don't do this, don't go out there. Oh, no,
Hmm.
no, that's me. And I had to step back. It's like, no, no, I'm getting more hurt. And I'm here to help you. But people, I feel like they use me.
Well,
And
see, the thing is like I've noticed with my clients when they first come to me, it's like anyone at the beginning of their journey, they see themselves as the victim. Life is happening to me. These
yeah.
people are doing this to me. This person did this to me.
Mm-hmm.
But as you go inside and you see the trauma and the wounds and all that stuff that's still festering below the surface, you realize that it's all an illusion. It's a made up belief. Everything is intrinsically neutral. Like nothing is good or bad except
Right,
for the meaning that you place on it.
right.
Nothing, any event, right? It's like me from this place I'm at now and on my healing journey, I could look back at all the worst traumas I suffered and say, dang, I'm so glad that happened to me because look
Mm-hmm.
at where I am today because of that. So it all serves us, but it only serves us
Mm-hmm.
when we see it that way. So nothing is good or bad.
Right.
Even this pattern with these women, it hurts. It hurts because of the meaning you're placing on it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's why I say at the beginning of our journey, we see ourselves as the victim. But as we move into our healing journey, we go towards the victor, where it's like, oh, all that happened for my good. All that shit, all that terrible shit I went through happened for my good. So I could be right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I hold space for women who have gone through the most traumatic, gross traumas. And I get to hold space with them because I can go into the dark with them and face these. And probably not a lot of people can do that, right? But because of the places I've been from, I could stand with these people in in the darkest places. So it all gets to be good as soon as we see it as good and we come out of the victim and say, nope, I've created all this. Everything I see, I've created. And at any moment, I can switch that story up.
Mm-hmm. So it's like
So,
I've heard saying that there are no victims, only willing participants. So, and it's like, we tend to bait into that, right? Into that victimhood. Oh, it's because of this. And I mean, like I'm recognizing myself.
mhm.
Um, but so it's the story that I tell myself based on how they see me. And anyway,
Yeah,
really a reflection of their trauma. And just because I trigger them, I mean, and again, healers will either inspire or trigger, right? I mean, I guess it goes both ways.
they will do both. They will do both and they will do it a lot. But the thing is, I believe that we're all at the core of our being, we're all healers. We wouldn't have signed up for the most difficult earth school like we wouldn't have signed up for this unless we were masters. So this is one of the most difficult places to be. But we signed up for it for the expansion of our being. So it is a great honor. All the trauma is a great honor. It's what we do with the things that we've gone through. That's it.
Yeah.
Our time's up, and I
Okay.
have so very much enjoyed our interaction, darling.
Yes.
And if there's anything I could do for you, please let me know.
Okay.
And yeah, make sure that you drink plenty of water because, like I said, we went through a major process today. So drink
Okay.
water. And above else, I want you to love yourself, treasure yourself, and I want you to treat you like your very best friend. And that's in your thought life as well as, you know, what you do for yourself in the physical as
Mhm.
well.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, hon. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.